This
Well,
conference will now be recorded.
so anyway, Ashley, you look really good.
Thank you.
You have more pep in your step today.
Yes. Yeah, I went to physical therapy today and I did something that I could not do before, and it was very energizing.
Good. What was that?
So I walk with a limp, and the exercise that she has me do, I stand on like a block of wood and I have to kind of pivot my hips up and down, and I can't really stand on my right leg without leaning over, and I kind of was able to do that today with, holding on, but I was not able to do that before.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Did you have any do you want any time later for questions?
Um, I want to tell you guys about a new documentary I saw about plant protein.
Great. Well, why don't we get through checking everybody in and then we'll get back to you. That sounds great.
Sure.
Lonnie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I missed last month. I forget why. I think we were traveling. I think we were in Florida, which is a place I'd like to be right now, given how cold it is where I'm at.
Where are you? Where are you at?
Virginia, Shenandoah Valley of Virginia.
Come on, it's not that cold.
No, but it's cold enough. Anyway,
so Lonnie, did you ever hear of real recovery?
No.
So it's something you should think about. I just went on this retreat from real recovery.
Herb, can we just get through the introductions first,
Sure.
and then we can go, because we've got a new person, or sort of new person, in Mary.
Okay.
Sorry. So go ahead, Lonnie.
So I don't know whether I shared this here, but one thing I dealt with several months ago was a kidney stone.
Wow.
Not fun. If you've never had a kidney stone, hope that you don't. It was actually my second. I had one about 20 years ago, and this one, and both of them were kind of debilitating pain-wise. I ended up having to have a procedure to remove it that was very uncomfortable and involved a stent in my ureter for about 4 days, and I survived that. The reason I'm reminded of that is my wife, who's a blood cancer or a breast cancer survivor, was having blood in her urine, unexplained. She had a CT scan today, and discovered that she has a kidney stone. And wow. we're both very happy that that's what it is. That wasn't something more serious. So yeah.
Lonnie, remind me, what do you have?
CLL.
Okay.
And I'm in watch and wait. Yeah, I got my third shot actually at the end of August. And I'm part of the CLL, or not CLL, Leukemia and Lymphoma Society study. And my antibodies jumped significantly. Yeah, hi
Sorry
there.
for my friend.
What's your cat's name?
Marco.
Marco. Hi, Marco.
Hi, Seth.
Anyway, my antibodies jumped from
why don't we wait? Lonnie, let's wait till everybody gets here and then go through. We could continue taking inventory.
Okay.
So that everybody gets to hear your story.
Okay.
Good evening, Mary. How are you tonight?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes. What happened to your voice?
Oh, it gets like that. My gastroenterologist tells me GERD, which is bothering my vocal cords. So.
Oh.
Just one more thing. So,
Just one more thing.
yes.
Are you still seeing your specialist in,
Well, I haven't seen him since August. I see him in December.
okay, well, good. Do you have any questions for later?
Hmm.
I was
had-
just trying to I just want to schedule time for everybody to, if they have extended questions, to make sure that we all have time.
I've had some good reports and I could share my good news.
Great. Great, we'll come back to that. Hi, Seth, haven't seen you for a while. You're on mute.
Muted.
You're muted.
Yes, I was traveling last month. Took a month off.
How are you doing?
Doing well, thank you. Yeah, I'm okay. I just got my booster today.
Good.
I've never had a reaction to either of the vaccine shots, so I don't anticipate any trouble with this either. They decided I have Moderna, and when they found out about my cancer, they decided to give me a full dose instead of the half dose.
Interesting.
Well, great. Do you have any questions for later?
Not now. Maybe something will crop
Maybe
up.
later. Jim, do you want to finish your checking in?
Yes. Right now I am hoping for my sister Emily to join because I've been having discussions with her and I was hoping that she would, but if she doesn't, I have some of the questions for the multiple myeloma folks
Good.
because that's what she has.
Great. Okay, we'll come back to you too. Now,
Okay.
Herb, would you tell everybody who you are?
Okay, well, I've been here before once, so I'm Herb Geller. I'm a board member of ANCAN and sort of doing the pinch hitting duties as necessary as a moderator. And I've also hit my connection to blood cancers is that my brother is being treated for multiple myeloma.
We have a
And
surplus of multiple myeloma tonight. Normally it's CLL.
so I've during that time, I've learned a lot about multiple myeloma.
Good. We're looking for insights.
Well, I will take some time tonight.
Good. Do you want to do it now? You can
Well,
be first.
I think, don't we have a new person, you said?
I already talked to her. That's Mary.
So, well, did she give, I didn't hear, did we get a full history? I missed it.
Oh, okay. Mary, do you want to tell the rest of the group? I'm sorry. I am an advantage. I'm her coach. So
Okay.
I guess that's my fault.
So
Mary, do you want to let
tell us-
everybody know where you are in Michigan and
I'm in
what your
Michigan.
diagnosis is?
I have a crazy bird that is squawking. But I was diagnosed with MGUS about 3 or 4 years ago. And then in October of last year, I had a bone, what is it, biopsy. And they gave me smoldering myeloma as a diagnosis. And so then I started on Revlimid, which I was told was the only drug they could give to a smoldering patient. And so after a few months on that, all of a sudden my numbers went crazy and my light chains went up thousands. And so that's when my local doctor consulted with my specialist and they decided to start treating me with the induction of myeloma. So I did
What were you treated with?
Revlimid dexamethasone, and
Velcade,
RVD.
RVD,
yeah, what's the D? I forgot. A V.
dexamethasone, and Velcade.
Yeah, so I did that for 8 months, and then I got I don't know to share this later, but I got a VG R, which means very good response. Not complete, but very good. So I said I'd take that. And so my specialist thought I should go on maintenance with 2 drugs, and my general hematologist, oncologist thought I should just do the Velcade. And so we were having a little disagreement there, and we ended up decreasing the Velcade or the Revlimid from 25 down to 10. And then I happened to go online and I was looking at the Mayo Clinic and their research with high risk genetic factors in myeloma. And I have those. And so they said you should do 12 cycles of the RVD for high risk. And so I was able to agree with my local doctor, let's do that. So we're in a good place. We're going to continue until through January. So that was my good news, and that's where I'm at.
So how old are you, Mary?
I'm 74.
Uh-huh.
I'll be 75 next month. I was turned down for a stem cell transplant because I have a lot of, well, I think it was my age too, but they claim they do it up to 75. But I have a number of autoimmune diseases. And honest to goodness, I would like to know, if your immune system is so important in the treatment response for multiple myeloma, what if you have something wrong with your immune system, like autoimmune diseases? And I don't know. I don't know where I could find out more about that.
I'll look into it for you, Mary.
Thank you. So I'll shut off my microphone so my bird can talk.
I'm glad you're feeling better, though. I think she went away.
Yes, I'm doing good.
Okay, great. Okay. Ashley, you said you had some good news.
I saw a documentary on Netflix. I guess it's a movie. It's called The Game Changers, and it's about plant protein versus animal protein, and how supposedly a lot of athletes are either vegan or vegetarian, and supposedly it helps them perform better. And there was a person whose father was older. He injured himself, and he got on a more plant protein diet, and it helped him physically and recover better. So I'm gonna try to be a vegetarian and see how it goes.
I
A
mean,
very timely message. I started a whole foods plant protein or a plant whole foods plant-based diet 2 weeks ago.
Oh
I have
wow.
not had a piece of animal protein or byproduct like eggs, milk, or honey for the last 10 days or last 2 weeks.
Oh, so
Um,
you're like vegan.
um, for the last 2 weeks,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
I don't
I
know if I can do
cannot
that yet.
believe I cannot. Well, I did it cold turkey. I mean, I
Right,
can't. I'm not one of these that can do a little bit and have a hamburger tomorrow.
right.
Um, but I'm very, very surprised how good I feel. I've lost 4 pounds, which was the whole goal of in my case. I want to lose weight. Um, I can send you the, the email address if you'd like. It's a great program.
Yeah,
And
that would be
I
great.
jumped into it because I love to cook. So I have done nothing for the last 2 weeks of rearranging menus and diets and dishes and gone totally vegan.
That's great. I don't know if I could quite go vegan because I do like eggs, but I don't know, maybe down the road.
And it's something from, this program tells you that, you know, do it as well as you can, but everybody phases in differently. I'm
Right,
probably, if I ever smoked, I would probably be somebody who quit cold turkey. I mean, I'm in it or I'm out. I'm not
right.
anything. But if you put your email address in the chat, I will be happy to send that out to you tonight.
Sure, thanks so much.
You're welcome. That's a great idea. Anybody else have anything to say about a whole food plant-based diet?
I guess,
I'm
are there
curious.
any data that show that it works?
Yes, there is.
Right, so they explain all of that in the documentary. So I don't know. I'll put, oh, let's see.
Do you
I'll
have the
just
name
put
of
the
the
title of
documentary?
it. Yeah, I put that
The
in the
Game
chat.
Changers. Okay.
Yeah, and it's in Netflix.
Okay.
I don't know if it's anywhere else.
So my wife has been whole food plant-based for just over a year, and she swears by it. Um, it's really been good for her. She's one of the reasons she went from vegetarian to vegan because her doctor told her she was having trouble with inflammation and arthritis in her hands. And the doctor said, you've got to give up milk and milk products. So she tried that and it worked. So she's gone and she's a real advocate.
Hmm.
She hasn't converted me yet, but she's working on me.
Well, that's wonderful. Have you seen any difference in her?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Uh, um, she just had her annual physical and had blood work done. And they say normally this is not a part of a typical blood panel, but they measured something that measures her inflammation in her body.
CRP,
Yeah, I
I
think it's
can't hear
something
you,
like
Herb.
CRP,
See her.
C-reactive protein.
that. And
Don't know that one.
she scored really well on that one, whatever. Yeah. Um,
Has her cholesterol and sugars gone down?
no. Now, this was very interesting. Her cholesterol actually went up.
Hmm.
But both she and her doctor found this research article that said something to the effect that your body, for a year or two, your cholesterol may actually go up, but then would come down. I don't quite understand how that would be the case, but maybe
Well,
someone
it
who,
may be the good cholesterol, not the bad cholesterol.
yeah. Anyway,
Seth, you
yeah.
were going to, oh, go ahead.
No, I'm finished.
Okay, Seth, you were going to say something?
Oh, well, I was just curious. You said you're feeling very good.
I
Uh,
do.
was there anything, you have anything more concrete than that? I don't know.
It
But
just seems I have more energy all of a sudden. I feel lighter. I don't know what that means. I don't feel sluggish. Um, although I still want to take a nap about 4 o'clock every afternoon. It just depends on how much running around I'm doing. Because I'm still on maintenance as well, and Revlimid, as you know, sort of knocks you out. Um, I just feel better. I don't procrastinate as much. If I say I'm going to go do something, I go do it.
and
So
how long has it been?
2 weeks, literally not one egg, and cheese is my real big thing, because I would a lot of times have a big wedge of cheese and a piece of fruit for lunch, and I can't do that anymore. So no dairy, no cheese, no oils, no meat at all. I've gone to an oat milk. which I have found is more palatable to my palate than some of the others. I've done a lot with oatmeal, the oatmeal overnight with chia seeds and fruit was very good. I've done a lot of Chinese because the spices and the things that you can change, and the air fried tofu is fantastic. It's almost a snack food, but I'm very happy with the decision to try it. I'm not saying I will do this for the rest of my life because a big piece of chocolate cake coming by me is not going to go very far.
And what, you might have already said it, but what prompted you to do this?
I saw an article in the myeloma crowd, and about this group in New York City. Actually, the group that I'm attending with, I'd say 90% are all in New York City. But they were saying how they had, taken on this trip of trying to encourage people and teach people how to go with a whole food plant-based diet. And it's different than just being vegan, because whole foods diet means you can't have oils either, So you get all your oils from avocado and nuts and seeds and things like that. You do all your sautéing and broth. So it's even a little more stringent than just being vegan.
What's wrong with oils?
They're very calorie dense. You got um,
Nine
9 calories per gram
per
of
gram.
in with an oil, whereas everything else is 4 grams.
Hmm.
So it's very, very, and it doesn't do anything for you. I mean, there's no positive thing on oils, whether they're avocado oil or olive oil or saturated oil. There are vitamins that need oils to be absorbed, but you can get those oils from fresh avocados, nuts, and seeds.
There's spices that bloom when
Yeah,
cooking.
but nuts are incredibly high calorie per gram.
Mm-hmm. But you don't eat very many.
Not
So
who
Ooh.
talk about yourself.
Hmm.
Well,
I
yeah,
eat, if once I hit up the nuts, it's hard to stop.
you
Did you say
certainly have to do like research on this. You can't just be like, well, I'm just gonna have a banana for every meal. So, you have to be smart about it because you also need to get all of your nutrients and stuff. So,
you have to eat the rainbow.
right.
Okay, I have a question. I thought I heard that there's a difference between a vegetarian and a vegan. Is that
Yes.
true?
Yes,
What's the difference?
Ashley.
A vegan does not eat any animal products whatsoever. So there's no dairy, there's no eggs, there's no
Honey.
milk. Any animal product, including the animal, they will not consume.
Okay, and a vegetarian is?
A vegetarian just does not eat meat. So no chicken,
Ah,
fish, beef, pork, stuff like that.
But they'll eat dairy.
Yeah, you eat dairy,
so,
eggs, and animal
right.
products, but not the animals.
So they consider a little tiny honeybee an animal? Wow.
No, they
Oh,
feel the vegan feels that they are subjecting the animal to work for the human by giving
oh,
them their honey.
oh. We have enslaved the honeybees and exploiting
Right.
them. Right.
And
Okay.
that's
I
same with the
understand now.
eggs and the milk.
Right, right, right. Okay. That's interesting.
Anybody else have anything to say about plant-based diets? Who else? Seth, you had something else to say. You had a question?
Well, when you're talking about oils, I think you said that seed-based oils are okay. So like sunflower seed oil would be all right.
Not in a whole foods plant-based diet, but in a vegan diet, yes. But this is a whole foods plant-based diet. which means the whole food, which means the nut has to be used, or the grain or the bean or whatever it is. It's just a little different.
I know, and I know you can make a counter argument to this very easily, but my
Probably not.
my thoughts about switching to these sort of diets are, oh, for gosh sakes, I got so much else going on. Leave me with one source of pleasure. You know, don't make me do that too.
Well, I mean, some people say that it makes you live forever because each day seems so much longer.
Very good, Herb.
Well, right. You have to strike the balance. If that's going to just like deplete, your pleasure, then don't do it,
Well, actually, Ashley, the documentary, is it specifically about the whole foods diet or just
No.
vegan?
It's not specifically vegan. It's not whole foods diet. It's like a mixture of vegetarian and vegan.
They
I
focus more
don't.
specifically on
Yeah.
Right.
protein.
It's just more focused on plant protein versus animal protein.
So alcohol would be okay, vegan, but not whole foods. Is that what I hear?
I don't know. That hasn't come up. Well, you can think of that as just the juice of the hops. So if tomato juice is okay, then hop juice could be fine.
It's just grape juice sitting
It's just
around.
grape juice.
Yeah, I feel like alcohol would be fine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Lonnie, you had a question earlier?
No.
Oh, okay. We answered yours then. Does anybody else have something to bring up? Mary?
This is a good book to start on hobbies.
That's actually the book we use.
It's great. And have you read the section on multiple myeloma? Multiple myeloma? He
No.
talks diseases you can die from. And so he has one of the best sections I've ever read in another unrelated book about multiple myeloma. And he says in there, if you have to have cancer, don't choose multiple myeloma because it's not good. But what's really nice, I don't know if you're using this, is his daily dozen.
Yep.
So it tells you how many servings of the different categories to eat. He has 11 of those, and number 12 on the list is exercise. But I got this book from the library first. It's called How Not to Die by Michael Greger. But I was so impressed. I know 2 people that have been using it for a couple of years and are very happy with it. But
That's actually the book our group uses.
the different seminars I've been to where there've been nutritionists at home, on their bookshelf in the back, they've got a bookshelf. You can usually see on the book How Not to Die. Very good. So that was my commercial break.
Well, I'm not sure if all of you heard me earlier, but Michelle's remission has retracted, and so she's back on treatment. And she hopes she'll be here with us next month. We don't know where Kenny is. Rick is in a training session, and Herb is replacing Rick tonight. Herb, do you have something to say?
Except, I mean, I'm not the replacement because I'm keeping quiet mostly.
Oh, Rick doesn't even show his face.
So, I mean, if we want to talk about something, Jim has heard this before, but Lonnie, you may not know about it. I went on a retreat last week from a group called Real Recovery. And what it is, and Seth, it's only for men, unfortunately. And it's what it is for cancer patients to go on a retreat where you do interact with other cancer patients, just like we do, only they're just not restricted to your disease. And they teach you fly fishing. And it's in a town, you may know of it, Lonnie, called Syria, Virginia.
No. Where in Virginia is it?
It's sort of near it's sort of on the east side of the Shenandoah Mountains, sort of north of Charlottesville.
Okay. Okay, I know that area. Probably about an hour from where I live.
Right. So they have 2 retreats a year. And if you're interested, you should go to the Real Recovery website and you can sign up for next year. It's free. It's supported by donations from various people. And I would say it was a very worthwhile experience.
Is that REEL or
Yes,
REAL?
yeah, I'll put it in the chat box here.
Okay.
And Herb, how long was the
2
retreat?
days. So it was like you get there it was from Monday to Wednesday. So you got there Monday afternoon and you left Wednesday early afternoon.
Okay.
And you go fishing 2 days, and then you have sessions, and the food is okay, not fabulous, but it's okay.
Is it males only?
Right, and there's actually a parallel group that I discovered for women. And I forgot, and I am now forgetting the name, but
I'll
I can
find it.
look it up. I can look it up as well.
So other than fishing and eating, how was the time structured or
The time
organized?
was structured where they have an organized facilitator. We talk about your disease, your reaction to your disease, and how we can help each other through it. How the camaraderie of knowing each other and supporting each other during what is obviously trying times can be useful. So you spend a fair bit of time at night discussing things.
Is this in one large group or broken up
There
into
was
smaller groups?
There were 14 participants in my group.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the whole group was together the whole time.
Right, the group is together, except when you're fishing. When you're fishing, you're paired with a fishing buddy. So your fishing buddy is an experienced fly fisherman who is essentially teaches you how to do it. And so it's, and then my fishing buddy was actually somebody who was still being treated for his disease, which was CLL. So I should have gotten him here, but
Yeah, sounds great.
I mean, he was a former Marine colonel who was a test pilot. So he was an interesting person, even other than fly fishing.
Did you catch any fish?
I caught 3 trout and a smallmouth bass.
Wow. Did you get to eat them?
No, it's all catch and release.
Oh.
So it's basically stock pond in a beautiful setting, and the owner of this, it's a private fishing ground where the owner is donating time to recovery groups to help people who need it. And the catch and release has this disadvantage, which is that the fish already know what to look for and avoid.
And if the fish feels sorry for you, he'll let you
Right.
catch it.
If the fish feels sorry, they'll bite, and then they know they're going to be tossed back with a little bit of a pain from the hook. But the hook has no barb on it, so it's really easy to get it out without doing much damage to the fish. So I would say this, I would, recommend it strongly. Well, Jim has heard me say this before.
Yeah.
And I think it's great.
Are you in Virginia as well?
I am in DC, or just outside DC.
Okay.
So it was 2 hours for me. Seth, where are you? You're muted.
I'm in New Jersey. I was just on
They
the
have
site.
one in Hope. They have one in Hope.
Yeah, they have them all over. I'm seeing Texas, Maine,
Right,
Michigan.
but which part of Jersey?
Yeah.
Which part of Jersey?
Pardon me?
Which part of Jersey?
That's probably in the
No,
north.
where do you live? I know where Hope is.
I'm in Jersey City. I'm right across from Manhattan.
Mhm.
No fish, not that type of fishing here.
No, but you can go fishing. I mean, I lived in New Jersey for 30 years. So,
Good fishing in the harbor for when striper season's on.
right.
But yeah, Hope is in a very beautiful section, the northwest part of New Jersey. It's called the Skylands region. Sounds very interesting. I'm going to check it out.
Maybe ANCAN can get a group and you all can go.
Well, I think it's better not to. I mean, I think the work. I mean, what we're trying. I think what would be good to coordinate with ANCAN, and I've been trying to discuss this, is basically you only go once to real recovery, and therefore there's no continual support. You get this one shot of meeting people. It's not the same as what we do, where we're providing. We like to know each other as people. So if we could get more people from that group into this group, I think it would be great.
Well, you could all go as ambassadors.
Right.
Ashley, where do you live? I forgot.
I'm in North Carolina. I'm in Huntersville. It's right above Charlotte.
It's a nice area.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I used to live in New York.
In the city?
Yeah, I used to live in Staten Island, so I guess technically that's the city.
It is even though it doesn't seem like it.
Right.
Does everybody have plans for Thanksgiving already?
Oh, I took a sewing class. I'm taking a sewing class, and yesterday we had one, and we're making placemats and napkins, and I have the cutest fabric. It has like turkeys on it for the placemat. I gotta find it. Hold on, I'll find it.
Are we afraid of COVID and flying, or getting together in groups, or how are we feeling about COVID this week?
I still won't go to a restaurant. I will not eat inside in a restaurant at this point. I still think there's somewhat of a risk. And
Seth, how about you?
Travel plans, you mean,
or feeling about COVID?
Yeah, well, we're in it for the long haul. It's not going away, unfortunately.
Yep. Have you got your booster?
Yeah, I just got it. I was talking about that earlier.
Oh, that's right, you did.
Yeah, I mean, I feel, as reasonably safe as I can. I'm glad that with the vaccinations, I'm able to use public transportation again. I feel like it's an acceptable risk. I've been saying I don't think I'll ever ride the subway without a mask ever in the future.
Yeah, no, even.
It sounds like such a sensible thing to do. And we still, around here, people are still very cautious about using masks indoors, and I certainly feel that way. But I was very concerned about eating in restaurants, but one day I just sort of found myself in a restaurant with a friend, and after that I figured, well, as long as it's not crazy crowded, I think it's worth the risk. I have to have some bit of
Right.
Right.
normal life coming back.
It's sort of interesting that I had sort of set a definition of what I thought when COVID would be a minimal threat. And it was fulfilled last week, much to my surprise. And that definition for me was the return of samples at Costco.
Our Costco hasn't done that yet. I'm concerned because Los Angeles is voting last week or early this week that they're going to rescind the mask requirement for restaurants inside as of December 1st. So that I think the masks are for a long term, and I think it's a good idea, but I'll wear a mask and I don't care if people laugh at me.
That's for a mask requirement in restaurants. Is that more for the staff than for the customers?
I think it is.
Yeah.
I'm not privy to all their ins and outs, especially in Los Angeles. I mean, but since it's a big, it's the big monkey on everybody's back is what the LA does. The rest of Southern California tends to go for. So,
Yeah. I mean, you can't realistically wear a mask and eat. So
no,
that's something you have to do. But if you're staff and you have to be there for hours at a time, I think it's a really sensible thing to do to protect yourself.
yeah, I agree. And with multiple myeloma or any of the blood cancers, they still don't even know how well, the vaccines are working. I was part of the LLS study. I think some of you others were as well. And, it just shows that, we do not make antibodies like normal folk. So,
Yeah, I mean, I was very pleased to find that they found antibodies from the vaccine when they tested me. But I know people here on this group have spoken about not having a positive response to the vaccine. I feel really, really bad for them.
Yeah.
It was such a relief to be able to approach some form of normalcy once I got vaccinated.
right.
The big, today's been a significant day. So my wife and I live with our daughter, son-in-law, and two grandchildren who are 8 and 6, and both of them received their first vaccine, COVID vaccine, today.
Good.
They were among the first 10 children in our city of 50,000 to get the vaccine. And since we live together, that's a memorable step because we're breathing the same air all the time.
Yeah.
So to have them have the vaccine and then they'll get their second one, I think like November 30th.
That's good. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Ashley, you had a comment? Ashley, did you have a comment?
No, I just put the clapping little emoji.
Our two grandchildren responded very differently to the vaccine. Our granddaughter, who is 8, no problem whatsoever. She sat down, took the shot. Our grandson, who is 6, screamed like bloody murder, tried to run away, but they got the shot in his arm.
Good.
I've been finding it very interesting because I had COVID back in January, and I hear different things. Some people say that having the natural immunity and being fully vaccinated is about as good as you could possibly get. But then I also hear that the natural immunity doesn't last very long.
No, I
And
mean, it turns out if you have natural immunity, and it's about 6 months, and the vaccine will, and that's about the same as a vaccine. So the idea that if if you've had COVID, you're better protected is not true. But you do, if you have COVID plus 1 dose of the vaccine, it's probably equivalent to 2. But then all we read is that my suspicion, this is going to be like flu. You're going to need an annual booster, or that this is not going to disappear.
well, part of what I heard, and by no means am I well educated on this, but the natural immunity gives you a more broader immunity, involves more parts of the immune response than just the mRNA vaccines, including the T cells. And I believe that those have a longer lifespan,
Efficacy?
a good memory, so to speak. So I don't know how to put this all into context.
I mean, I think one thing, I haven't read any papers in the area, but clearly the mRNA vaccine is only making antibodies against one region of the virus, the spike protein.
Mhm.
Whereas if you get the whole virus, you may be making different clones of antibodies against different parts of the virus. But I think the spike protein is the most immunogenic part. So most antibodies seem to be against the spike. Anyway.
What do
So,
we, does anybody have an opinion about, other countries, for instance, say South America, they have not got as many people vaccinated as, say, the United States and Europe. What about all those people who are getting COVID and changing the variants, and then we go through this again?
Could be.
Well, you're
Well,
making
good. Everybody feels the same way I do about it. Lonnie, you had something?
yeah, I was going to ask Herb what his thoughts are about. So I think today or yesterday we heard that in the UK they've approved an oral medication, a pill,
Yes.
which I think is a treatment, right? Not a.
Yes, it's the J&J came out with a pill which is antiviral and has some efficacy against COVID.
It's a monoclonal antibody.
No, it's not an antibody. It's just a drug.
It's a monoclonal antibody, which is a targeted therapy, and it's called Revlimid.
Is it an antibody? Okay.
It's not an antibody like you're thinking about an antibody. It's like an antibody in multiple myeloma treatments.
Okay.
Called a monoclonal antibody.
So,
and it's a treatment.
Yeah, part of my question for you, Herb, is do you think these kind of treatment options, which likely there will be others developed, will that become as important or in addition to the vaccines important?
I don't know. I mean, clearly, if you get sick, you need treatment. But I think that prevention is worth a lot more in this context, right? If we got everybody vaccinated, this disease would be less onerous. And yes, if you get sick, you want to get treated.
Yeah. So Seth, you mentioned you had COVID. What kind of treatment did you have? Or did you just recover naturally?
No, I got a monoclonal antibody treatment as soon as I could, and I think it was very effective. That's why I ended up having a relatively mild case. It was the Eli Lilly drug. I can never remember the name of it. Just the one antibody, not the cocktail of two. And ultimately, what I had lasted about 2 weeks, a little more, but it was relatively mild, just more or less stubborn, really.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. How easy was it to access that treatment?
Well, I asked, I got it through my Memorial Sloan Kettering.
Okay.
So they just had to check to see if I could, for approval. And it only took a day before I got a positive answer from them. And I'm glad that I had been, I was aware of these options from discussing it with my friends. And I was able to act on it quickly because it has to be effective. You have to have it, I think, within the first week of knowing that you tested positive, which I did. In fact, my response to it, they after they give you the infusion, they keep you for about an hour to check for infusion reactions. And I didn't have anything like that, but at the end of that period, I started to develop gyres, really bad shivering, and I was cold and achy and just felt terrible. And I had driven in, I had to drive myself home. I was worried about it. But they said, look, it's not an infusion reaction. It is your body fighting off COVID. So I assume that the treatment really kicked in that quickly. And that was, the battle going on in my system kicked into high gear. And I managed to get home. I was really worried. Because of the timing was getting close to rush hour that I might get stuck in a long delay at the tunnel, which is always a possibility. But I managed to get home reasonably well and just collapsed into this chair as quick as I could and fell asleep for about 3 hours. Afterwards, I felt much better. That was the worst experience I had with it.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that story.
You're welcome.
You're the only one that I've really talked to or have listened to that's had COVID. No one in my life has had COVID. Oh, except my housekeeper.
Well,
she
we have
didn't.
actually a very close friend who has long COVID, which
That
is
had
a
what?
real long COVID, which is a total wreck.
Oh, you mean the long haul?
Long COVID, yes. I mean,
Yeah, long haul. Okay.
right. That is something that's really awful, and it's serious,
Yeah.
and nobody really understands it.
I have to say
That's too
one
bad.
thing. Another reason why I'm very glad to be in care of Memorial Sloan Kettering is they had a program to keep in touch with you. They would call me every day to check on me, review my symptoms, and that was, I didn't have anything major to report, but it was very, very comforting to know there was somebody watching out for me, especially because I live alone.
Right.
Yeah.
My family had COVID. My family and my sister-in-law's family. My mom was in the hospital for like a month. She had it really bad. And unfortunately, my sister-in-law's mom and grandmother actually passed away from it. They didn't make it. So it's hard to hear when other people don't believe that it's serious and they don't, get vaccinated, and if they choose not to get vaccinated, they still don't wear a mask, and it's just very
Selfish.
scary. Yeah, it's selfish. I get very pissed off.
I agree with you.
And like my mom is like a relatively healthy person, so and she just happened to get it like
Mhm.
bad, you know.
Mhm.
She's okay now, but you know, she has like a lingering cough sometimes.
That's terrible.
It really
How
is.
is,
It
go
really is
ahead.
amazing how people still insist that it's not so bad as Ashley was saying. Um, it's almost as if no matter how much it's in the news, whatever stories they just will ignore it until, unfortunately, someone very close to them gets sick.
Right.
Right.
It's amazing.
It's been
Sad.
politicized so much that it's too bad.
That's perhaps the most regrettable thing about it, to complicate it that way.
Hmm.
I, you know, Ashley said it's selfish, and I think it's 100% right. Doing what's wrong with doing something for the greater good? It's patriotic, isn't it?
Yeah, people just have an issue with being uncomfortable for 5 minutes. You know, like
Or being told what people don't like being told what to do. I can
I
appreciate
guess.
I can appreciate that, but there's a balance here. I have no problem with.
Well, I mean, does anybody ride without a seatbelt these days?
Or don't stop at a stoplight. I mean, what would happen if everybody decided they're not going to stop at a stoplight anymore because they don't want to be
Right.
told what to do?
The point.
I mean, except that's sort of how I feel when I drive through Boston. Everybody's decided they're doing their own thing.
Try Italy.
I haven't tried that one. So, is anything else on anyone's
Yeah,
mind?
I think the
Ashley?
danger is that you know, people who are sick but they don't look sick uh can have a really big problem with COVID. My oncologist said if I had COVID, it would be a really big problem for me. And I don't look sick, but I'm immunocompromised. So you may be fine if you get it, but I'm not going to be fine. So, yeah, definitely it's annoying.
That's
So,
one way.
so yesterday I was working out at the wellness center of a nearby retirement community, and I was wearing my mask while I was exercising. And a man older than me came up to me and said, "Oh, sir, you can take off that mask. We're just breathing hard while we're exercising, and feel free to take your mask off." And I responded and said, "Sir, I'm immunocompromised, and I'm going to keep my mask on, and I'm fine with that." To his credit, um, he went and got his mask and put it on.
Good for him.
Huh.
Oh, that's very
So,
nice.
so I felt that was really supportive. I was getting ready to really stereotype him and put him in a box and say he was a bad guy, and then he did that. So,
Now we got a good guy.
yep, now we got a good guy.
I think actually that's a very good point you bring up. It often could be confrontation about these issues can often be counterproductive. Um, I think, just approaching it the way you did probably was, calm and reasoned, and we kind of responded. That was, it's hard. It's easy to be emotional and burst out when
Yeah.
confronted, but a lot of people aren't really doing it to antagonize other people. They might not be thinking about it in the same way you are.
But
But
it
there
was kind
are
of like,
people who are doing it to antagonize people.
yeah.
Absolutely.
But my experience kind of reinforces Ashley's point. I think this man looked at me and said, "Oh, here's a healthy person. He doesn't need to wear a mask." But when I
Right.
told him I was immunocompromised, that kind of changed the story,
And
changed the
perhaps,
picture.
and perhaps next time he'll think twice about assuming that, everybody is in the same boat.
Yep.
That's
So,
great.
I
Mary?
had an incident this week. I was going to a meeting at my church, walking into through the parking lot into the church, and one woman on one side of the parking lot yelled to a woman on the other side of the parking lot, "How are you feeling?" And the woman responded, "Well, until 2 days ago, I was pretty bad." So I said to this first woman, "Oh, she's been sick?" First woman says, "Yeah, she had COVID." Here she is, walking into the church, no mask, nothing. And it just opened up my eyes how many people are out there, they don't know or they don't care. That I thought you were supposed to wait 10 days after you had a negative COVID test before you head out. And then lately I've been thinking, I wonder if I should have said something to the sick woman. But as it was, I just sat in the back of the room with my mask on. So,
I don't recall what that rule is.
It's 10 days.
Is it?
10 days from when you're diagnosed.
With a positive.
Right.
10 days from the positive test, you should, what? I thought there was a 14-day quarantine. No?
That was the original one.
Oh, now it's 10. Okay.
Now it's 10. Yeah.
I know I've heard from different sources, if you're exposed and you don't get it by day 4 or 5, then maybe you're lucky.
Yeah. Well, when my housekeeper got it, I mean, she never got COVID, but she was exposed and she had a positive test and she had to stay quarantined for 10 days. But she never got COVID. But she did well. Well, look who came in to talk to us.
Oh,
So
hello, Rick.
Rick is here. I'll leave.
Oh, no.
No,
You
no.
don't get to do that.
No. I mean, Rick and I have been on listening to stuff all day today. And it's like, and he was even in worse shape than I am. But I've been on the computer since 9 this morning.
This is my
Solid.
third Zoom meeting today. So
Well,
I know what you mean.
7 o'clock for me, 7 a.m. for me.
right. But it's only, what, it's 8,
6 o'clock.
right. It's 6 o'clock. Right.
It's
Here
6
it's
o'clock.
9. For me, it's 12 hours straight so far.
That's too much.
So my apologies, guys. There was a training session with one of our major partners, and our moderator. It was a training session for moderators, and our moderators made up 10% of the total group. So I felt I needed to show up and attend. So, how is everybody?
Good.
We're here.
You're here. Ashley, how's that hip?
It's doing better. I'm
Can?
showing progress.
Are we doing the can yet?
No. Maybe on the left leg I can stand, but not on the right leg quite yet.
But her PT, she reports that her PT is going well.
Yes.
Oh, great. I'm very, very, very pleased to hear that. So, well, don't let me interrupt you. I mean, come on.
Okay.
What's been
Well, we've had
going
a
on
rousing
here?
discussion about masks and COVID and what we think about it. And Mary has given us and Ashley have both given us some food for thought on whole food plant-based diets,
Oh, great.
and
Excellent.
I'll put out the information to you and everything that I have, because I started one 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I actually heard a very good session from one of the cancer nonprofits this week on diet and nutrition. It was a really nice. I think they sent the recording through today. And I think if someone else keeps talking, I'll look for it and I can put it in the chat window. But I thought it was pretty good. I did. I just have to find it.
So Ashley can show us her fabric while he's
Oh
looking.
yeah,
Did
the
you find it,
turkeys.
Ashley?
I did, yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Ooh,
Oh
that's
my.
gonna be cute.
Wow.
Isn't it cute?
love it.
It's really cute.
She's
Yeah.
making placemats and napkins for Thanksgiving.
Wow, very cute.
Thank
How
you.
many people, Ashley?
It'll be me, my boyfriend, and my boyfriend's mom.
That's a manageable group.
Yes. Yeah, normally like my family is very big, but 95% of them are in New York.
Well, that's good. That'll be
Yeah.
fun. Are you cooking?
I'm gonna contribute to the cooking, yes.
All
Good.
right, there you go, guys. There's the link from this Ask the Expert session with registered dietitian and health coach Crystal Cascio.
Hmm.
And it was good. I mean, it was worthwhile. I think you'll get some nice stuff out of it. So if you click on, that's a live link in the chat window. So if you click, it'll open in your browser.
Got it.
So
Okay,
there
Sally.
you go.
Yes.
Let's see. I need to talk about my sister. I have
Good.
been attempting to get her here. I got her once, and she's kind of hesitant to come back. And right now, she's a basket case. And
Oh,
I know the idea is that, okay, she had the stem cell transplant, I don't know, about 6 months ago. And now she's starting to get her shots, okay, to bring up the immune system, right? And the doctor told her that she should stay home, okay? Now, to her, that means you don't go outside for anything. And she's depressed, so I keep saying, look, well, then she gets she happened to get and with the COVID shots, right? And someplace she read that for her, the COVID shots are not good. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, essentially in the multiple myeloma scheme. So I told her, well, the thing that you ought to do is to ask your doctor to do the test on you, okay, to find out exactly how much. So she asked for the test, and the doctor she's got isn't that responsive. And she just didn't really, well, she asked for the test, but she didn't say, I want the test. So I don't know if she has it. Now, in the meantime, she got herself, I believe, a palliative care doctor who is really touchy-feely. So she thinks that the palliative care doctor is treating her for her disease somehow, and I don't believe she is. Although she's and loves the palliative care because she knows so much and all of this stuff. So I'm trying to convince her that okay, the palliative care doc there is there to try to get her through the bumps, but not really treating her for the disease.
You're correct.
So the question that I've got that is on the COVID aspect, I think she's had the 2 shots and she got the Moderna, and hopefully that she will get her 3rd. So at what point in this journey is she going to possibly entertain going out of the house and going shopping, okay, at the grocery store?
She can do it now.
That's what I'm trying to tell her. And I told her, I suggested, could you go late in the evening, when there aren't that many folks in there, or early in the morning? And she says, but my doctor says I have to stay home. And
Is her doctor a specialist or just a oncologist?
Well, that's the thing I have been trying to pull out of her, and I'm not quite sure if she knows. So the thing I think I'm going to try to do is find out who it is. And then if I find out the doctor's name, how do I find out if this, is a specialist?
You can look it up on, you can look it up on the web and look at his, his hospital affiliation, then look at the number of multiple myeloma patients he sees. If he sees more than 500 a year, then he's a myeloma specialist. If he sees 5 a year, he's an oncologist and doesn't know enough about multiple myeloma.
Okay, so I need to know exactly where he is in practice, I take it?
No, just put his name in.
His name, Jim.
Just put his name in.
Okay.
And you can tell her that 60 to 70% of myeloma patients do get some response.
Okay.
And it can be a high response, or it could be just a medium response.
Okay. In the scheme of things, if it's a medium, is that not sufficient, or is that considered to be sufficient, or what?
It's sufficient to keep to from what I understand, it's sufficient to keep, if you do get a breakthrough COVID infection, it's enough to keep you off the ventilator.
Okay. Now, how soon afterwards, or how long does it have to be after she gets all of her, shots? I mean, tetanus, etc.
The thing is I'm surprised that her doctor is giving her all her shots at 6 months. I didn't have mine for almost a year and a half. So
I still don't have mine.
Yeah, I mean,
oh, yeah?
6 months is really early. I mean,
I don't know if it's 6 or possibly 9, because I'm not sure exactly when and where the transplant happened. I know it happened last year, or I think it was, or earlier in the year. I will have to find out.
Okay, well, 6 months is early. And normally when you get your vaccines, you get one every, you'll get tetanus 1 week or 1 month, and then you'll have 4 pneumonia shots, and every one of those has to be 6 weeks apart. And then you get, whatever ones, measles, all of them. But you don't get them all at once. You get them over a period of about 6 months.
Well, the way I understood from her, she got like 4 at a crack. So
I'd get her another doctor.
Well,
that's my personal opinion.
Yeah. I mean, well, the thing I have been attempting to get her to do is to call you and compare notes.
Yeah.
But she says, I have been reading on the internet, and and I'm finding out so much.
Unplug the internet from her home.
That's exactly what I said. I said, look, you need to compare notes with a person who has been through this.
Or go to healthtree.org. I mean, a lot of these questions are on healthtree.org.
Oh, okay. Okay, I can suggest that then, but I'm still trying to get her here.
Yeah, I'm more than willing to talk to her, and I'll put link in here.
Jim,
Okay.
what about if Sally's willing to talk to her? What about if Sally just gives her a call? Will she
Oh,
pick
yeah,
up the phone?
I can do
yes,
that anytime.
I believe she would. But the thing I was attempting to do is, because of the political aspects in the family, not trying to impose myself. And so I gave her your email address. I gave her all of this stuff and said, look, just contact her and she would be happy to call you, but I may have to do some guerrilla tactics here and try to go around this thing.
I put my email in the chat, and if you can just email me her telephone number, I will call her.
I have it. I have it on almost speed dial.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well that's
I mean, you can talk to Mary. I started talking to Mary, what was it, January this year, January 21? And she was just coming out of MGUS and smoldering myeloma, and she had a regular oncologist who told her a lot of things that were not necessarily good for her forward momentum in this. And she did get a specialist. And Mary, you tell your story. I'm not going to tell your story. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Beyond that, I'm having trouble with my speakers. So I didn't hear everything Jim said. But yeah, I'm starting to come in line with my local hematologist more. I did ask him up front exactly how many myeloma patients he has. And he has 6 that are active and 12 that he's watching. So that made me feel good. He's not, and he does seem to be in touch with certain other specialists that he favors. But I'm sorry I didn't hear everything about your sister. But
you went to a specialist in Lansing, right?
No, I University of Michigan.
University of Michigan, okay.
Hematologist is in Lansing. But I think a lot of the information at the university, I don't know, your sister is with well, is she willing to learn more about the disease? Because the more you learn, I think the more comfortable you are. But
oh, absolutely. She's willing to learn, but the sources that she is learning from, I don't believe are quite the right ones. And once she gets an idea into her head, it is gospel. And so I'm trying to convince her to talk to a person who has actually gone through this and and is encountered all the bumps and the thumps and everything else and knows exactly how it should or it could proceed with a good outcome. So
I found the Health Tree University offers all those courses that gives you insight into what myeloma is and how it works. And that was I had MGUS when I started doing that. And I think I pretty much went through the whole thing. But there are connections in myeloma crowd where they talk about COVID vaccines and myeloma. They answer a lot of questions. It's sometimes hard for me to go back and find the stuff that I really thought was good. I can't find my way around there. But yeah, just snooping around.
You can always call me.
Oh. Well, if you could mention something, I know the COVID vaccine, I think, was a problem with your sister, right, Jim?
Well, I don't know if it's a problem, but she thinks it is.
Oh, but that's what I meant. But maybe you could refer Jim to something on Myeloma Crowd. I know I've read articles, people discussing it.
Yeah, Myeloma Crowd has it all.
Myeloma
Yeah.
Crowd?
It's
Yeah.
part of Health Tree. It's if you
Oh,
when you
okay.
get into Health Tree, you can get out the tabs at the top, and you can go to
Right.
Myeloma Crowd and see the other links.
Okay, anyway, I can do that. Anyway, I was an IT guy for 45 years,
Well, you'll
so
have
I know
more.
how to get in and out and,
Good.
all around. And don't blame me now because it is the way it is. I tried to tell them and they said, you're old. So I retired. Ah,
Thank you, Mary.
Mhm.
and I thank everybody for the input there.
Great.
So
Lonnie, do you have
speaking
anything
about,
else?
yeah, yeah, I have a question. Speaking about getting siblings involved in meetings, Herbert,
Right. I think my brother is about the same as Jim's sister in terms of wanting to join. I'm working on him. But you missed this yesterday. You missed this, Rick. I did report that he did a bone marrow biopsy yesterday, got the results back yesterday, which said, basically they found all the normal cells they expected to see and didn't see anything else. So
Good.
that I thought was pretty encouraging because I suspect, and he's scheduled for a transplant in December.
Where is he having it?
Hopkins, Johns Hopkins.
Good. And they're all inpatient, right?
Well, you stay in a place across the street. They have
Okay,
a
so that's an
special,
outpatient. Okay.
it's sort of they have a, like a, I mean, the thing is, he's tricky because we're sort of within the mileage boundary where they expect you to commute.
30
And he
miles.
doesn't,
Yeah.
which he doesn't want it. Well, it's more than that, but basically, I think he's definitely going to stay there.
Well, good.
So,
I wish him well. I
well,
have a
yeah, thank
huge,
you.
if he needs it, and I'm not touting anything, but we've just completed an entire stem cell transplant manual, but it was written by five of us coaches, wrote a 16-page manual on how to prepare, what is and how to prepare for, and what you do during, and what you do after a stem cell transplant.
Well, if you'd be willing to share it with me, I would. I would.
No, I'm not. You got to bring me that chocolate cake.
You can't have the chocolate cake. You can't have because you're doing whole food vegan. I'm sorry.
Herb, put your email down and I'll do
I'll
it.
bring you a bag of pistachios.
I'll take it.
I thought it was whole
If you send me your
chocolates,
email, I can do it.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat.
Okay.
Well, it's just Herb at Ancan.
Oh, okay. I can do that.
But at any rate, that's a report. I mean, obviously, we're all quite relieved that this 4-drug regimen seems to be working like gangbusters. So, I mean, I think for any new patients, we should remind them that that's a real advance.
Great. Sounds like things are going in. Yeah.
Daratumumab seems to be very popular.
It works for some. It didn't work. I only had it as a bridge therapy during the time that I stopped my Revlimid over Christmas because they postponed my stem cell transplant because of the holidays. They couldn't get staffing or something. But they put me on Dara as a bridge therapy and all my numbers went up. So I don't obviously have CD38.
Right.
But I'm MRD negative now and I'm very happy and
Good.
hopefully, the
Then-
doctor said last time I saw him last month, said that if I still look good in January, we're going to cut the Revlimid in half. So,
Uh-huh.
Oh,
yay!
So what are the major side effects from the Revlimid, Sally?
Other
Fatigue
than
or
costing a $21,000 a month, and
wow, right.
but the physical things are diarrhea is terrible. It's controllable, but it's just a pain in the it's a pain in the
Yeah,
ass.
I got it.
Well, I mean,
My
let me point out that a vegetarian-based diet does have some effects on that end as well.
Yeah, I've noticed
That
it.
that could synergize with this drug. You know, a little bit of rice might not be.
Too
Can you
bad.
eat rice?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is even my girlfriend wants to know because I'm on 21 days and off 7, and she always asks, because is next week your on week or off week? Because she wants to go to lunch when I'm on my off week because she says my mood is much better.
All right, right.
So, and I don't see that personally since I live alone, and my cat doesn't mind.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get it. Who makes Revlimid,
Celgene,
Sally?
which is part of
Celgene.
Bristol Myers Squibb now.
Right,
Celgene.
right,
Revlimid is the first daughter of thalidomide. They used to
Right.
use thalidomide for multiple myeloma,
yeah,
and but Revlimid is the first daughter, and Polymyst is the second daughter.
Yeah. It's lenalidomide. It's a very
Yeah, lenalidomide.
related.
Yeah. And the other one is polylidomide.
yeah. Herb, when I first started in this, there were a couple of doctors like Snuffy Myers who used thalidomide for prostate cancer.
Huh. Yeah.
Well, thalidomide reduces the number of capillaries that quote feed a tumor, or and it was
Yeah,
used for um, insomnia for pregnant women, and that's how they found all the birth defects
Hmm.
in Germany.
right, right.
1963.
Hmm.
I
I
saw a
remember it
documentary on
well.
that.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah,
I think it
I
but
was
remember
Dr.
it very
Kelsey.
well.
Wasn't it Dr. Francis Kelsey at the
she
FDA
refused
who
to okay it for the
reported
FDA in the
and
United States.
basically put a hold on it?
Yep, she saved a lot of American babies.
Mm.
But it's an amazing drug. I mean, because it works for multiple
Mhm.
myeloma. And I'm not sure. Somebody said they were using it for something else as well, and I'm not sure what.
Mm.
There are several crossover drugs now, like venetoclax, that is being used for CLL
Mm.
and multiple myeloma. So it's a great time for all the new drugs and the new therapies and the new. In fact, if anyone is interested, there's a one-on-one question and answer period with Jim Allison next week with the myeloma
Yes.
crowd. And
Yes.
I have a video of his initial coming up of how he came up to discover how T
Well,
cells attack um, plasma cells. And
well,
it should be absolutely fascinating. And if anybody's
yes.
interested, I'll put it in the notes.
For those who didn't get it, I got an announcement. It also has a link to a video biography of Jim
Yeah,
Allison.
I'm the one that
And
sent it to you.
oh, thanks, Sally. But it's fascinating. I saw that a long time ago. He gave a seminar at NIH, and I was quite impressed with it. I
He's
mean,
the
you could
original
replace
hippie.
definitely. I mean, he's on his second wife now, who is his partner.
Right. And he still looks like a hippie.
Right.
But he got
And
he got the Nobel Prize for Medicine in 2018.
yes, his discovery was seminal in terms of
Yeah.
immunotherapy.
Yeah.
And so I really, if you haven't heard of Jim Allison, or you're curious about what the life of a hippie scientist might be, you should go watch it because it's really fantastic.
We'll put that up in a follow-up email, right, Rick? Rick?
Which one? Yeah, I mean the Ben Allison interview, you mean?
Right. I mean, I'll write up the notes if I send them to you. Can you
Yeah,
send it
yeah,
out to
yeah.
everybody?
Yeah, send it to Alexa and she'll get it posted. And did you listen to the NPR piece?
Yes, I
It was
did.
great.
Mhm.
Did
It's
you
very
enjoy it?
similar to the video. It has a lot of the same things that's in the video as
Yeah,
well. But I did
yeah,
listen to the NPR.
yeah, yeah. No, it's such a lovely piece. It was
Yeah.
really a lovely piece. They
Have
called
you
him
seen the
down
video
from.
yet?
No, I haven't. But
You'll love it.
in the NPR piece, which I heard, it must have been 2 or 3 years ago. And I was pretty familiar with
Man,
ipilimumab. I don't know, Herb, I don't know if you watch Mike Milken's presentation earlier on today, but
I listened to the first half
thank you.
and
Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a
decided
minute.
that if I had a limited amount of time, I better go listen to the real science, and I'll
yeah.
go listen to the rest later.
So he referred to a conference that I was attending, that I was invited to in DC, and at the time there was one of the guys who was there was one of the main IPI guys who is in this interview, a doctor at the MSKCC.
Was that the Faster Cures, the
Yeah,
conference?
yeah. And this guy was, and I spoke to him about it because at the time Jerry, God rest his soul, was trying to figure out whether he was a suitable candidate for ipilimumab. And I talked to the doc about it. And the story apparently is that one of this fellow's patients had great success with ipilimumab or Yervoy. That's the drug also that President Carter used.
Mhm.
And they actually called Jim Allison down from his office because these guys never interact with patients. And when the patient
Right.
came in this particular day, the doc calls upstairs and he says, "Come on down. We want to show you." And Allison came down and he broke down in tears because
Right, that was at
person,
Memorial where basically showed him that the melanoma is gone. Essentially,
yeah,
the scan showed complete clearance. Yes,
And that's in the video.
that's a touching moment in that video because
Yep.
that really is it's a seminal moment for all of us, you know. And I don't know, Rick, I'm sure I told you that the seminar I heard Jim Allison give, the last part of that, the last few slides of that, we lost you, or are you there?
I am.
Anyway,
Anyway,
I'm having some bandwidth problems, so I just shut off my camera.
I see. The last part of his talk basically says, and I now have a cure for prostate cancer, which we
anyway, and
haven't heard yet.
I think in view of that patient, that woman that was cured of her cancer, she was in the trial where I think it was Bristol Myers Squibb or it was Merck or something. They were going to stop the trial because after 3 months there had been no change in any of the patients on this drug. And they stopped it, and 3 months later she was all of a sudden cured. So that's put this whole drug back into the clinical trial list where they were taking it off. But he was refused by like 7 different big pharma before he got this one.
Well, that's sort of a very characteristic of the avant-garde. You really have to fight your way through the non-believers.
Yeah. So we'll send that out, and if you have a chance, it's on November 15th, and it's noon in California. So I imagine it's going to be 1 o'clock or 12, 3 o'clock your time or wherever you are. It's noon in California. And I'll send you the links and the registration.
Cool.
So that was an interesting discussion tonight. Does
Yep.
anybody have anything else? If not,
Okay,
and we're sending good wishes to Michelle, and she sends all her
Yes.
best wishes to all of you. And we'll hope to see you next month.
so let's
Our
stop.
next
I'll stop
meeting
the
is
recording.
December 8th.
And I just